Welcome, welcome. My name's Trish. Today I want to take a look at the missing person case of Lynette Hooker. Disappeared on the 4th of April. So I just want to see what the cards want to reveal about this. This is my first tap-in of her energy. I'm going to be using the investigation, the connections, and my new deck, the clarifier, just to work with that one a little bit more. So a little bit of a timeline here as I'm reading through now. And just see if the cards, as I'm reading through some of the facts of this case, we'll just see if the cards want to reveal anything here. So we have the 4th of April. Straight away it says think about it differently. So Brian Hooker, Lynette's husband, has given his statement of events that happened, but the daughter Carly is questioning those events, the way they've been told by Brian. So my heart goes out to all of the family of Lynette, especially her daughter Carly. So here we have the 4th of April. Lynette and Brian Hooker depart Hopetown in their dinghy to return to their sailboat, the Soulmate, in Elbow Cay. Now there's photos of them found by Ashley Banfield, retrieved some photos in the area that somebody took, which had Lynette and Brian sitting at the pool. And Lynette's body language was arms crossed, her feet crossed. She was very blocking kind of energy, defensive energy, protecting herself kind of energy. Brian's energy was leaned right over. Maybe he was trying to make his point or get his point across there, but the energy of that body language wise just felt a little bit off. Now, the reason I've got the first card that's fallen out here as I come back and forth, a little bit jumpy here. I feel the jumpiness is something to do with the story that's been told in this case. There's a little bit of jumping energy that we're going to be finding that in weeks ahead, things that are not adding up as we jump from maybe story to story. Maybe the story changes a little bit in coming weeks. So we have this think about it differently, and I feel this is the questioning energy around the daughter Carly, but I also think it's the card saying think about the situation differently, not as the facts have been given in this case. And facts, I say allegedly, I say this is the statement given by the husband Brian. This is all alleged. This is all marks left behind, just flipped out then. This is all alleged. It's entertainment purposes only. Card reading. Okay, now somebody knows too much or somebody wants to talk, need to check the timing. Exactly. So this is what I mean. There's some discrepancies I feel in the way that oh wow, okay. There's a lot to get through here. There's a lot of information here. I'll just spin this around so you can actually see this one. So the photo that is on Ashley Banfield's channel, which is at the pool, that was taken around about 6:35 in the afternoon. Now the sun doesn't set there, it doesn't get dark until around 8 p.m. Then the daughter saw footage of them leaving the resort, heading down towards the water. There's no footage of them getting into the dinghy at this time, but there is footage of them heading down that direction. 6:38, still light, still very bright. So, and the story goes, or the information given by Brian, is that the water was very dark. He saw his wife go overboard over the dinghy, but lost sight of her. He saw her swimming, but lost sight of her because of the waves and because of the wind and because of the darkness of the water. So these cards are saying check the timing, and I feel that is what is being questioned by the daughter Carly, because she saw them leaving, exiting, or heading down towards the dinghy at 6:38 when it was still light. So something's not adding up, and that's what I'm feeling like with the jumpiness of this energy. I feel like the story may change a little bit to cover up some of this kind of energy in the future coming up in the weeks ahead. Now it says that, continuing on with the story, Brian says that keep in mind that the dinghy ride back to the Soulmate, back to the sailboat, is 10 minutes. It's a 10-minute journey. So he said that he paddles to shore on the morning of the 5th. He was 9 hours. He saw her go overboard. The water was dark. He saw her swimming. Then he lost sight of her. He's a Marine. it puts into question, and this is all around the internet, so it's not just my thoughts, but what could have been done once she went overboard. So, and we don't know, we weren't there, so we don't know, but the cards are saying, check the timing. Somebody knows something else and wants to talk. I wonder if somebody's going to come forward about the time that they did get on the boat. I wonder if there was actually somebody that spotted them. There may not be any camera footage of them leaving, but maybe somebody will remember them getting into their dinghy to head back to the boat, just to really confirm those times as to whether it was light or dark. It's a very important part of this case. The other thing that's really scary on the table here is deep water, and I've got goosebumps. Why is this important? Because there was a 9-hour gap from when he saw her go over, when the water was dark, which would have been 8 p.m, even though there is video footage of them heading down towards the water at 6:38. If we take into account the details of the 10-minute trip back from the dinghy to the sailboat, 10 minutes, water was dark, we're looking at around 8 p.m. He doesn't phone the authorities until the next morning of the 5th. 9-hour gap. This card here says deep water. So that is plenty of time to head into deep water. So I'm going to continue now as we get straight into this. I wasn't expecting to get into this reading as quickly as what's coming out. The deep water question. Let's ask the cards about the deep water question. All alleged, entertainment purposes only, but since the cards are talking and they want to talk about the deep water aspect, we've got a 9-hour leeway here, or a 9-hour gap here, where Brian says he was 1 all coming back to shore. However, he did move his sailboat. His sailboat was moved, and I think it got moved to Marsh Cove, I think is the name of the cove. I'm not reading that anywhere, but just from memory of looking at this case. But it does show there's flags here around the sailboat being moved. So let's see if the cards want to reveal anything about red flags to do with the sailboat being moved. Okay, something didn't go to plan here. So something didn't go under plan. This is in this one here is working in the dark, nighttime. So it would have been dark when all this plan was underway. Would have been working in the cover of night. Things didn't exactly go to plan. Maybe the whole plan is not going to go to plan. Okay, why was the sailboat moved? Now down here we've got the Emperor card. I just want to show you on the bottom of the deck. That is the male figure here. Okay, I'll come back to the deep water. I'll come back to the sailboat being moved. Please, cards, reveal the truth around the story that has been given. Show me if there's truth in this story. So just like at the beginning of the reading, they really want to draw your attention to think about the situation differently than it has been told. It was the first card that fell out. And the question that I'm asking now is, where's the truth in the story as it has been given? The cards are saying we need to think about this in a different way. It may be different than what we've been told. So surprise, surprise. So this is all alleged. Now there was movement of a vehicle. This is talking about the scene around moving that sailboat. They still want to talk about it. Maybe it's related to a cove that's more undercover, more protected, more private. It was a risky move. Moving the sailboat. This is a card again that's dark. I don't know what the moon phase was. It'd be interesting to know what the moon phase was at the time, because it can make a very big difference as to light or darkness in the night time. Because even if he was doing some kind of plan in the middle of the night, then it's still dark. even if he was rowing back with one oar, it's still dark. This took place under cover of darkness, maybe under the cover of just moonlight here. But we need to think about the situation and question things or logistics around the sailboat being moved, an access point, because of where the sailboat was moved to. There's something going on around an access point there. Harsh sentence could be harsh conditions. Risk-taking harsh conditions. Think about the situation differently. Moving the boat, but it feels to be because of an access point or something. Maybe it's privacy or access. Okay, let's talk about the deep water. Why do you want to show me the deep? And again, I've got goosebumps here. Deep water. Deep water. Was there deep water involved here? Because the place that they were, by the way, at its deepest point, it's like 15 feet. It's not very deep waters there. You can, when you can see the bottom. Also a place of tiger sharks as well. There was a tiger shark spotted in the area around the same time, like on the 5th even. I'm not, please don't quote me on that date. I'm not 100% sure. There's a photo of a tiger shark taken around the time of her disappearance in the area. So let's talk about deep water access distraction. I knew this card was going to come out because I did have a dream last night. However, I'm reading on 2 cases today, so they were a little bit jumbled. I didn't really want to talk about the dream that I had last night. If I can talk about it in a way that's not too graphic or not too detailed. There was some misdirection in my dream. There was trickery in my dream. Dreams are cryptic, so the scenario which involved infidelity, there was trickery involved around infidelity. So that, and maybe the dream was just showing me, maybe wasn't showing me that there was infidelity. Maybe it was showing me that there was it was a way to highlight trickery to me, because it was definitely trickery. So in the dream, and I was viewing the dream because I asked for protection. I didn't want to step in too deeply to this energy or the other case that I'm reading this week. They were showing me, I was in a room just peering into different rooms, and I feel like I was looking into the different cases in the different rooms. When I was looking into this case, it was a room of infidelity. It was a room of anger. Once the person got discovered, there was a lot of it was such, the face, the eyes, the face, the anger was, and now you know the abuse gets worse. That's, I'm sorry, but that's the words that came out in the dream. This is just a dream. May not be connected. It may mean nothing. I'm just telling you the dream that I had last night. And I open my dreams before I do a reading because I want to get any kind of clues. But it may be completely unrelated, and it may be related to the other case. So keep that in mind. But there was the anger face about being discovered, the infidelity being discovered, and then it was, and now you know the abuse gets worse. But then it was a complete change of face, like a complete change of face. I don't know what mental illness you call that, but it was trickery, and it was pure trickery. The whole scene of infidelity was trickery, because to me it just took it. To me, it was steer in one direction so we don't see the other direction. So it was pure distraction. Not one other thing that came out in that distractive part of that dream, the trickery part of the dream, was blood products. So, and when we talk about deep water, like, I don't even know if I want to say it, but sometimes fishermen use blood products when they're fishing. So But part of the trickery here of this was a blood product was in my dream. So, and I don't want to be graphic and I don't want to describe it, but I found that very weird. And that was part of the trickery. And the words were said in the dream, trickery. Okay, tell me about the deep water. Really important here to, they're interesting cards. And I see water. I'm going to put those cards over there. I'm going to quickly show here. Oh, look at this card. This card says jealousy and cheating. I knew this card would come out too. I knew I'd see this card as well. It's and if I didn't say the dream, based on that trickery and the distraction card that just came out, I would have had to have said it with this. The phone records, the cheating. Paid cheating to it. It was in my dream. My dream it was paid cheating. Okay, drugged or poison is interesting. That was my thought when I first looked at this case. Oh, deep water. Deeply involved, deep water. Okay, I try not to go into a reading with a preconceived idea. We have the innocent card here. I feel that's her energy. Innocent card here of energy. These cards are so full on. Okay. Deep water once again. We're seeing the deep water card, so that's very prominent. One of my thoughts when looking into this case was drugging a drink. And I'm not talking about the wait staff. I'm not talking about the bar staff. I wonder how incapacitated she was. I wonder what her state was when on the video footage of her leaving. I feel it was fine. I feel she was fine. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I feel she was fine on the video footage of her leaving the premises. But we have the card of drugged or poisoned. It's kind of something that was floating around in the back of my mind. Even though I try not to come into a reading with an idea, I kind of wondered if there was some kind of drink spiking that was involved here. Was that to do with the distraction card? Okay, so here's what else is important over here. The other cards that flipped out in a pile, they flipped out separately. So I wonder if they're meant to be kept separate. There was a fight or argument. Emperor, male figure. A plan that didn't go to plan or will not go to plan because of what was left behind. I think we're going to have more evidence coming forward in this case. I think we're going to, whether or not the police have it already and they're building a case, I think we're going to be seeing, because we've got something left behind or marks left behind, and I'm not seeing any cover up, but I'm seeing that a plan doesn't go to plan. So whatever the scenario was, and this is all alleged, this is just card reading, the cards are saying there was a fight involved with the male energy, had a plan, but the plan doesn't go to plan because there's something coming forward in this case that was unexpectedly, undeniably, is what I'm hearing, proof, evidence that was not supposed to be there. In this search, they may find some marks left behind. Even though down the bottom we see deep water, there's a part of this case that was not accounted for. Okay, let's keep this is my first reading. I see the missing puzzle piece down the bottom here as well, on the bottom of the deck. One final spread. I want to keep this, and then the other one on the bottom of the deck is also body is hidden. Okay, final spread for this case, please. What is that you want to tell us that has not been revealed yet in this case? What information has not been revealed in this case? Okay, I just want to jump ahead for a moment and continue reading through. Okay, this case. So Brian is arrested and released without charges. That was on the 8th of April. On the 15th of April, Brian vows to stay in the Bahamas to find his wife Lynette. He then goes and takes a plane out to the US because his mother is ill and he needs to be by his mother's bedside. The April 16th, the Royal Bahama Defence Force confirms that the search is still active. What I'm seeing in these cards and what I've seen in other cases, when these cards fall together, undercover and justice, there's a case being built undercover, or a case being built behind the scenes. Interesting. Okay, will Lynette be found? Will Lynette be found? Will she be found? Maybe some more evidence will be found, and that's what I picked up earlier on in the reading, was that I think there's going to be more evidence coming forward in this case, and it could be like somebody seen something kind of matching the description of Lynette activities around the time of when they left the place. Okay, these ones here align to my dream that I had. Something was seen, another piece. Now, why Lynette may not be found, especially if there's deep water involved, some trace or marks or evidence is left behind. Somebody may come forward with what they are thinking they saw, but they're not sure, and maybe that's a key missing piece in this case. It says something was seen. Maybe something was seen about an argument, because we've seen the argument in this already. Maybe somebody saw them arguing, and maybe that is a key piece of this puzzle. There's a full risk-taking here, but we need to think about it a little bit differently than what has been presented, especially I think with the timestamps, because we had that timing card. Okay. Will we have truth? Will the truth be revealed in this case? Cards here when it comes to will truth be revealed in this case? We've got the relationship, an argument, crime of passion, heated tension, argument. Could be related to like the things I went through in my dream. Judgment, sentence. Interesting that he got arrested on the 8th but then released without charges. We're talking about a relationship going on here, and an argument around a relationship to do with relationship. A crime of passion or desire related or connected to the argument. But judgment means sentence. So we may find truth in this case. I just forgot to pull a card from the Connections Oracle, so I'm just going to see if there's any cards that want to be revealed from the Connections Oracle. Just using the other two decks that I said I was going to use, it's saying that it's different to, the story's different, and it's repeating itself. It's different to what it was before. Again, we've got mishandling mistakes have been made. It could be to do with medication. So where we saw the poisoning or the drugs, there could be medication involved here, or mishandling or misuse of certain types of medication. Doesn't mean it was her medication. Which could have made her fragile or vulnerable. Truth will be revealed through interrogation. This card here is about obsession, obsessive compulsive or obsessive behavior. Just on the back, I just want to see what it says. Oh, water connection. Of course it says that. Water connection. So truth will be revealed through interrogation on the boat. Maybe to find out where she is.